Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 2 Phase 1 Day 3. I'm Taylor Reflections Noble, joined by Guy Blaze, and man, we got another great matchup coming up. Elevate versus Fire and Ice. Two teams that have been playing out of their mind as of recently. I say that not counting Fire and Ice just losing 2-0 to High, but at least from the matches that we have seen, they've been playing fairly well. How do you think this one's going to go, brother?
I think this is going to be a banger, man. I think these are two evenly matched squads here. Either one of them can come out on top victorious. But I do think maybe one team is playing more like a unit than the other. And we'll talk about that one a little bit later here. But regardless of the fact, Taylor, man, you got a great series coming up here.
Well, you know, all teams have great individual players, right? And I think, you know, we really don't have to say it, but we'll say who the two that we're going to be keeping our eye out for. It's going to be Shock and Dyslexic. We always talk about these players. Shock has been instrumental to elevate success as of recently. Even in scrims, he's been looking so impressive. Dyslexic, on the other hand, last season really came to the forefront with Carnage Gaming. He played very well. I expect a lot from him. But I don't know, man. He's been instrumental in Fire and Ice's success, but he's kind of been hot and cold, if you will, where Shock has been a little bit more consistent. But you're looking at these stats. What stands out to you?
Man, two things that stands out for me. Shock's average assists, okay? You know, his average assists out there, he is making sure that he is a part of all of these fights. And, you know, his engagement success, 74%, man, of the engagements in which he gets in, his team's coming out victorious, and that makes sense, man. These guys are 2-0. They've been playing hot. We'll see if he can keep that high engagement success throughout the rest of this pro league. But looking at this one, I think it kind of tilts towards Shock, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As far as the numbers go in this series, let's see if Dyslexic can be the catalyst for his team to get to come back here in the pro league and get another win here against Elevate.
The thing that stood out to me, too, for Dyslexic was the fact that he had 31.5% or around there of the total team kills, right? That's a pretty large stat. You know, when we looked at our stat line earlier for Vital Sound, okay, he was sitting at what, 25, around basically even, okay, 25%. Yeah. So that right there is a good place to be. I think when you start getting up and above that, it shows there might be some discrepancies amongst the other players. Granted, Shock, we saw him at 22%, but you also, as you mentioned, those engagement success that he had, really impressive. It was superior to that of Shock, but those assists, right? Those assists, there's just no comparison. What he was like almost 10 or more above that of what Dyslexic had in terms of stat line. And that comes to show you sometimes maybe it doesn't matter about your KDA. Getting those assists is just as important, but we know Shock can also pop off too. Look at Harbor. That's one of the maps he can do it on.
And so when it comes down to those numbers, the team engagement, Vital was at 25%, right? That means that most of his teammates are at 25% too as well. In a 4v4 game, that shows teamwork to me, right? Shock was at 22%, but I think that's because one of his teammates has been slaying out of his mind lately, all right? We're going to see him do that once again in this series. And folks, I'm talking about DeTox, okay?
Of course.
Definitely one of the main slayers for this team, the main slayer for this squad. Hell, I got my ass kicked by him in Elo Ace this weekend. I was like, yeah, no wonder why y'all 2-0 this week. Okay, I see it, you know, and I'm expecting for him to do big things today as well.
Look, 2-0, more importantly, you know, that stat line, again, it's just looking good. Elevate coming in, we didn't know what to expect from them, but now we do, because preseason, we didn't see a lot of them. We really didn't. But now, Pro League, they're not playing around. Let's take a look at our pick and bans, see the maps we're rolling with, and got a little bit of Foundation, District, and Exhibit. Foundation for Fire and Ice. You know, it's a map that they do fairly well on. It was the final map in that series versus Rise, and I believe you ended up, you know, kind of backing Rise. And honestly, it was close. It came down to round 9, if I'm not mistaken. Dyslexic actually has a clip during that top 5 that you can check out at youtube.com/UMGGears on Foundation with the long shot. But it wasn't easy by any means, but still, it is a map that they won, so it makes sense that they do pick it for map 1.
Hey, man, they can go to Foundation all they want and put long shots down on this map, but I think Elevate won't have any issues whatsoever with that, Taylor. And they may have done their homework already, and they're going to be making sure that they focus a lot on building their secondaries and getting off to an early lead, because if they do, they know their opponent's going to put down power weapons in which they're really good with as well. District, we know, Elevate's really good this map. We saw exactly what they could do on it last week. And if we go to the distance, I will say this. I think Exhibit is a very strong Fire and Ice map and they will give Elevate a lot of trouble, especially Fearzly, man. He loves pushing those lanes. He has Toti over his shoulder with the support. We know he can slay out as well. If Fire and Ice pushes this towards a map 3, I think they could take this one. They could take this one.
I mean, any dog, has their day, right? Whenever it comes to these fights. And for me, but Fire and Ice losing 2-0 to Hive, like, again, they played each other many times, but typically Fire and Ice wins that fight. So I'm kind of like curious as to what's going on today. Maybe something is a little bit up. Let's talk about our predictions. And of course, Fire and Ice, I've been backing them through and through. I've been very impressed with their ability to play throughout Pro League. But this matchup, I can't support them. I can't. And that's the reason, because Shock and, as you said, DeTox, man, they've just been playing lights out, playing so amazing. I've got to back Elevate in this fight. I was looking at the channel predictions. We'll get to that in a second. But for the most part, Elevate, I think they got the better end of the stick here. What are you thinking?
Man, I would say it like this. Every single series today, we have all our Latin American teams on broadcast. It's NA versus LATAM in the first series. It's going to be in this series, the next one, and our final one of the night. And you know what? I'm sticking on the NA train here. I got to go Elevate in this series. Yes, Fire and Ice is a great team, but Elevate, they impressed me last week, and Fire and Ice didn't do it. And also with Fire and Ice coming out today and losing against Hive, you got to think that they are going to be down there on morale. But this could be the series in which they get back into a Hive. They've been playing really great. I think Hive and Elevate are two different teams here. Fire and Ice are going to be more fire, more hot than cold. But Elevate, they're not playing around. And, I'm going to be on board that Elevation train.
I think they're just going to continue to get better and better. I really think they are like a finely aged cheese, as you were saying a little bit earlier. Chat, what are you going with? Hey, you're 5-6, I believe 5-6 or 5 and something. So it's time for you guys to step it up. Chat, who are you with? Who are you backing? Fire and Ice. You know what? A fair choice, a fair pick again. Fire and Ice. Indeed. It absolutely is. They've been playing well. Okay, so I understand why you're going with Fire and Ice. It might be the wrong pick. I think it is the wrong pick. But hey, at least you stand by your decisions, and that's okay. You're just about to fall one more point down the stat line in your overall predictions, chat. I'm talking a lot of trash. It's about to hit me back in the mouth, as it typically does, please.
Hey, yo, Taylor, you know what? I think you're really big brain today, okay? I seen your predictions. You got a nice little set here. We'll break that down when it comes down towards the end of the broadcast. But hey, stay strong in it. Stay planted. 10 toes down. This is where the chat gets behind, right? This is where the chat is behind us and all the casters out there. But we know that the chat, you guys are the smartest people on this broadcast, okay? Come on now.
Pretty much are. Look, any mistake we make, they're pointing it out, okay? Any mistake a player makes, the analysts come out in chat and they're letting them know who to drop, okay? Chat is just geniuses out there blazing. It has always been that way.
So if you guys come out on top with this victory and beat me and Taylor, y'all better celebrate. All right,
big brain, pop the bottles, man. I'm curious. I don't know how many channel points it was, like the disparity. One of my buddies usually lets me.
All of mine right now in Elevate.
You're not a mod. You can do that, can't you?
Yeah,
you're so lucky,
I can
man.
Do that. Yeah, I'm not a
You're
mod.
so lucky.
I can do all of that.
Well, hold on. I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to lose my mod status because of that. But I like my story. No,
hey,
please
but
don't.
You're trying to lose your mod status, aren't you?
I'm not though. I'm really not.
I thought you wanted
I got 78,000 channel points. I'll just continue to get them by hitting that fancy button that gets you more. Hey, going to be a great matchup. Chat, let us know what you're thinking. Obviously, Fire and Ice, but more importantly, why? Why are you going with Fire and Ice? Is it because of their history? Is it because of them having, a great series versus Rise, them surprising, making some upsets? Why are you going with Fire and Ice? I genuinely would like to know, because we made our points while we're going with Elliot.
I was going to say it could be LATAM bias.
Well, you say that, but look at the previous match. NA versus Latin America. They went with the NA all the way. I mean, it was 850,000 to 40,000, for VQ. So
chat making big brain plays out there. Chat definitely out there with some good predictions. And hey, they could be right, but that makes this series even better, Taylor, okay? And it just also shows, once again, how close it's going to be. And we got two talented teams here. Both these squads was 2-0 coming into this week. As we know now, Fire and Ice, they're sitting at 2-1. Hive is at 3-0. And Elevate will be looking to beat Fire and Ice as well to join Hive at the top of those standings at 3-0.
Yeah, and I think they can do it. To be quite honest with you, you know, we've been here before where we bet against Elevate. We're not doing it tonight, but we did do that at one point, going for Rebel. Remember, and we ended up falling behind in the overall predictions. And again, we weren't expecting Elevate to come out so strong. We know the roster, we know the members. There's a lot of talent there, but again, we hadn't seen them in the preseason as much as we had seen Rebel, who had been playing fairly well. But now that Elevate is here, it's hard to ignore them, and they continue to improve and continue to surprise me in the matchups that they have. Fire and Ice going to have to figure something out. One of my biggest worries for them, and I'm talking all this, they can win the series, but one of my biggest worries for them was preseason. They started off really, really strong, winning the first E-Days. You know, they were doing great throughout the Pro League qualifiers, and then they kind of had a lull period in E-Days. Granted, they cleaned it up in Pro League where it matters most, but losing the Hive again, there's something going on. That matchup at least always goes to game 3, or Fire and Ice wins it 2-0. So what is the discrepancy? Why did it fall apart? I don't have the answer to that. I wish I did. If someone in chat can maybe enlighten me a little bit, would like to know why it was, and from what I heard, a beatdown, right? So Fire and Ice might not be in the mindset tonight, might be playing as individuals instead of teams. Speaking of which, Elevate, you mentioned a lot of great teamwork. Do you think that teamwork is a little bit better or on par with that of Fire and Ice?
I think it's definitely it's on par at minimum. All right, but I do feel like it's a little bit better because of the duos of how the squad came together. You know, Shock and DeTox, a lot of chemistry. Toti and Demise have been playing together for years, and it just seems like this squad is a very selfless team who gets done whatever they need in the given moment. Hell, we watched Toti slay out last week, all right?
Yeah.
And put the hands on his opponents. And, you know, that's not something that we normally see Toti do, but it gets better and better after every season, him and Demise both. So, you know, and we already know how talented Shock is. You saw him on a stat leaderboard with the 17 assists on average. His team was out here dominating, and he isn't even a part of every single team fight. It just shows that his teammates are out there slaying. And you know, Shock has always been front spawn certified. So, and what I mean by being front spawn certified, meaning that he has been on teams and they trusted him to be the first guy in the fight to break ice, to get things done. This Elevate team ain't nothing to play around with, all right? And
no,
all season, I'm gonna tell you, man, look how swole Demise got, okay? You see him out there,
massive,
Diesel.
Massive.
All right, so
absolutely
Demise
massive.
ain't playing around. Let's go.
What they say? What, it came through and ate the old Demise. Now there's the new Demise. I believe it, man. I'm not messing with the guy. I'm really not. And wait for we get back to LAN events. I would hate to trash talk that man on main stage. You're just not going to be able to beat him, whether it be on the sticks or it be in just a fist fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think you, as big as you would challenge that man at this point in time.
Demise have put hands on me. I don't want nothing to do with that. No problems.
All right, Toti, though, he's going to be going head-to-head with Shock. Bit weak. Shock, good spacing. He'll go ahead and pick up that elimination with the help of Demise, who's already on the overextension, but quickly finished off by Dyslexic, who pulls up big. We looked at his stat line earlier, that head-to-head versus Shock, and, well, Dyslexic making good on that. That was a nice, clean two-piece.
Yeah, and that got his team another heal. That kept this fight down low at neutral because Fearzly and Xploidz were about to make a move until you saw the big double kill come out from Dyslexic, and then they just slowed it down, waited for help to come. 3v3 fight over here currently. Toti's taking damage off the side. He managed to get a meat shield there under all that firepower that Xploidz was throwing out his way. And even with a down off the back end, revive chain comes through. Elevate may come out victorious in this fight. Double down, they will win it.
Well done from Fire and Ice to at least hold on, but B, as you said, look, Elevate's going to be able to take that. Down 20 points to Demise already on the OE, and they're going to be going in for that domination, guys. And I know you can't hear it, but it is occurring, and Player 7's got to get a touch. He's a bit too far away, and Fire and Ice will lose round 1 over towards the side of Elevate. Very well done. Dyslexic popping off again, but it just wasn't enough. The teamwork from Elevate is what won the battle in the end.
Yeah, it most definitely was. And so to break that down a bit, you know, it was Elevate who broke ice in that round. They were playing for their opponent's home hill. Dyslexic made a big play, overextended the map. But then at that point, rather than holding home hills, his teammates said, you know what? Let's take a quick 3v2 at B. I believe it was Shock that came off respawn to help make that an even fight over there between Pistons and Welding. And with Toti getting that first kill and the meat shield, him and his squad, man, they were able to get the downs in which they need to win that fight there, staying close together, making sure that they can revive each other under pressure. And ultimately, man, they came out on top.
I like the fact that Elevate puts their Bull Talk down low where FNI puts it up top, so you can really see where they're prioritizing the fights, and Elevate might want to prioritize that statue fight, that OE, a little bit more so. Of course, they'll even out, but again, that Bull Talk's going to continue to get built up. Big trade, though, between Toti and DeTox on the other side. Dyslexic, business as usual, takes down one, takes down the second. Guy is playing light out. 4 down for Elevate. Neff and I off to the races to lock in the domination. Player 1 is going to have to make some magic happen.
Yeah, man, Dyslexic, you know, he plays a lot with Shock, and they fight side by side a lot, outside of 4v4, but he's putting the hands on him. Demise, he comes off respawn with a quick response to the play that Dyslexic made beforehand, and he's going to kind of even this all up a bit here. On the map, it is going to be currently a 4v4, but Fire and Ice teammates, they just respawn. So Elevate's going to be in an elevated position here on the map, as they are going to be kind of shooting down there from fountains, trying to get both these players of Fire and Ice back as they try to cap this hill. But Fire and Ice, they're doing a good job making it difficult on Elevate, but not for long, as these should be 2 easy kills here for Elevate. They will get the B hill. And with Tidy and Shock making a quick rotation here, Taylor, they have a flank on Fearzly. They should be able to get this home hill.
Xploidz got to make a decision. Does he go back and try and take down player 2 and 4, or does he push through player 3 to go to Charlie? He's not going to have a say in it whatsoever. Now it's up to FNI. The player's off the respawn. Toti leading the forefront to get that touch, and he's not going to be able to do so. Highly unfortunate at that point in time that player 5 was out of positioning. He really couldn't go anywhere. He knew he was angled out. But well done for Elevate to retake control. They were looking at a potential domination on the back of Dyslexic, picking up some major eliminations. But again, it takes more than just one player to win. Individual skill is phenomenal. Dyslexic pulling off those great plays. It's amazing, right? Because it opens up a win condition for FNI. But if FNI isn't ready to pounce on that opportunity and fully commit to it, hey, you're not going to get that victory. Overall, I like what FNI is doing, but they just got to fully commit and capitalize on those big plays from Dyslexic. Elevate 2-0 up. Let's see if they can progress to 3-0, or will FNI answer back?
Yeah, Demise got a retro lancer to shut down Dyslexic on that top portion of the map. Elevate was smart, putting most of their placements up top. You see DeTox being aggressive, trying to find a play for his team. Doing a good job dodging shots for Toti for reinforcements to come through, but Toti was very decisive on who he needed to fight there. He got a kill for his team, and Shox is going to rotate out, make a play for his squad, decapping the hill, because he knows that somebody's going to have to go there, cap that up. And while they're doing that, he will be looking for numbers elsewhere. But Dyslexic, man, he's all over this place, man. He's thinking on another level.
And Elevate now, they've got to try and survive this 1v1 DeTox. If he takes down Xploidz, he can get onto Bravo, but Xploidz doing what he needs to do, and he's wasting time. DeTox gets the chunk at the end. He's going to be able to put his hands onto Bravo. Tidy's now going to challenge Dyslexic. Demise going to come from the flank. Great teamwork there. Dyslexic trying to isolate Tidy, but not a lot he can do whenever you have a player coming just behind him. And now Fire and Ice down 2-1. They're going to lose their point lead that they had. It was only about 7 points, so not the biggest loss, and they've got to reallocate their numbers to try and retake control. I'm just curious where they do go.
Toti is out of position here in this spot. I don't know. He doesn't have any help. DeTox is like, yo, bro, this guy's by himself. Like, can we come on and can we take him out? But they wasn't sure if somebody was secret manning on the back ramp. That's not something they could have possibly known. So it could have been a trap there set for Toti. And so that just shows that that's a lot of composure there from DeTox and Shock. They knew that they were the defensive squad. They had to get pushed. They didn't even bother shooting at Toti in that moment because they knew that, hey, we're the ones set up with the advantage.
Yeah. And I mean, look, and also too, Toti's going to be pushing a 1v2, right? So they know they have the ultimate advantage. He's not going to get very far. Fire and Ice tries to make some moves, but I want you to pay attention to that minimap. Look at player 6. He's isolated by himself. Well, I'm saying player 6 is down, isolated by himself. He's taken down. Player 8 was the only one on statue as well. He is gone. Player 5 by himself. You mentioned earlier too, one of the players from FNI, Toti, by himself, out of positioning. Again, that is what is hurting Fire and Ice. They're making great attempts off the initial. They are looking phenomenal. They're having these great plays where they're almost getting that domination blaze. But then after that, once they lose control, they split up way too far. They don't fully commit to overtaking a hill. And because of that, Elevate has numbers all day, and they're going to use that very well, and Fire and Ice doesn't have a say in it.
Yeah, they don't have a say in it. And then, you know, towards the back portion of that round, I do believe it was a connection issue there with Fearzly. We'll see if he'll be okay coming back into this next round, or if we'll have to kind of take a technical pause here as we get him back into the game. But I agree with you, Taylor, man. You know, Elevate, they did a good job working their numbers, not just in that last round, but in all 3 of these rounds here. And their teamwork was looking good there. And it's looking like Fearzly is going to be A-okay. So love to see that one. We're back in action, folks.
I thought we were going to have, like you said, a technical pause. But look, I love to keep that action going. You don't want to give them the time to breathe, right? So Fire and Ice, they got to figure it out on their feet. DeTox, big mid fight, takes down Xploidz. Toti now by himself. Shock's going to have that advantage up top, right, to be able to Lancer him out. DeTox, he doesn't need to even push in. He's going to allow him, Shock to get that additional damage. DeTox then is going to finish him up already. Domination coming into effect. 5 and 7, they're going to push up to try and get that touch. But Xploidz and Fearzly, they got a lot of work to do. DeTox going down. It's a great start. Demise, though, good spacing, trying to isolate Xploidz. He does. Now he's got that 1v1 versus Fearzly. Big 1v1. Shock's in the mix, though. The rest of the cavalry's here, and I think this round is about to be over with unless F&I, they pull off some great kills.
If they can, but you see Elevate, man, they have the pressure here. Multiple kills. The pinch is there. They have no problem locking in this round, folks. And good job there to Demise. You know, he stayed alive. He put in damage. And he also has a tall task in fighting Dyslexic in the 1v1 top tables. But he's doing a good job using that secondary and making it difficult there on Dyslexic. As you see, he has, you know, 6 kills, 1 assist, the most of his team, but it's 8 deaths there as well.
Yep. All right, so 4-0, not a lot you could really do at this point. Now, F&I, they are going to isolate a fight on Statue, something I felt they probably should have done a long time ago. F&I did very well in that Statue fight when they played against Rise, and that was instrumental in their success for coming back and winning in that map number 3. So I'm surprised it's just now coming out now, but again, you don't want to fall behind an Ensign or a Retro, so I guess I do see it in hindsight. But this is where F&I has a chance to really turn things around. Again, that long shot fight went so well for them, but if Elevate wins this long shot in this initial, all the tricks are out of the bag. F&I, they're going to lose it, and that is a big instant kill on Xploidz. DeTox should be picking up this long shot soon.
Yeah, man, DeTox doing a good job working that front spine, taking his fight on Statue, putting himself in a good position to get the power weapon. His teammates are making big plays. Only a matter of time before Dyslexic gets flanked. He knows it. DeTox already has the rifle in hand. And now at this point, Elevate's going to slow down because they know that they are in position to win the next team fight with the weapons that they have. They know the possible lanes in which their opponent can be pushing towards their direction. DeTox gets another kill. That's numbers. Elevate, they're going to press forward, try to close this one out. But Xploidz,
he hit the body
beautiful timing there.
But DeTox still hit that body shot. Imagine if he gets a headshot there. I would have lost my mind, Blaze. I would have lost my mind. But you mentioned Elevate taking their time knowing they were going to win that next team fight. It seems as if F&I is going to win it, but I just wanted to highlight what you said because of the fact that that's something Elevate has been doing very well on. They're not overcommitting, and they know when to back off, and that's a strong characteristic this Elevate roster has. Fire and Ice, though, they're down in points, but you know what? They got the long shot with 3 additional rounds thanks to Xploidz picking up that big elimination earlier on DeTox. But can they make anything happen with it? Will they just stay put like Elevate was doing earlier, or are they going to overcommit? It looks like they're staying put. That's the right call.
Yeah, it's the right call. You know, you stay put until the lead change comes through, but you also know that your opponent's going to try to make a play before the lead change happens. So with that intel and understanding those patterns, you can preemptively get some nades out, pre-fire some corners, and really set up around the neutral hill. And we're seeing Fire and Ice do a great job at just that. Their opponent made a well-timed push that Fire and Ice was expecting. They did a great job at countering. Now they're trying to end the round, but Toti trying to have a say-so in that, Taylor, but he gets made quick work out of.
Okay, so Elevate actually is in a really good spot here, believe it or not, because player 1 on the neutral is winning his engagements. He's now going against Toti on the other side. Now, I was just talking about, of course, his 1v1s. I was assuming Elevate was going to win that fight on D. They don't. That's thanks to player 7, Fearzly. Granted, though, he's going to have to back off. The scoreline is still very close, so I'm curious if Elevate gets his 2-to-1 hill cap, is it going to be enough? It's not. Toti's going to win that fight on the neutral. So Fire and Ice Blaze, they're going to take this round. It was a close one, and honestly, I think it's over with.
Don't
it has
call
to
it
be,
yet,
right?
Taylor. Don't call it yet.
Come on, don't
Taylor.
do it to me, Blaze.
Don't call it yet, Taylor.
No way.
Whoa! Oh, sorry. He almost did it to him, though. That was the kill. That was the kill.
Oh my gosh.
They almost 5-0'd him off that move there, but in the end, Fire and Ice survives.
Blaze, you scared me, man. But for good measure, Demise, look at Demise though, 15-2, with 5 deaths, man. Not bad at all. Now for Fire and Ice though, Blaze, the thing I'm worried about is they didn't win that long shot fight. They didn't win the initial, and Elevate for the longest time had the lead. It was because of Xploidz making that sneaky man play, getting behind, I believe, DeTox and taking him down, winning that long shot. Elevate wasn't expecting that whatsoever, right? So that's what it took to kind of flip the script, turn the tides for Fire and Ice to win that round, still coming down to the wire with Elevate almost taking it. Fire and Ice still has a ton of work to do, and it starts with winning the statue fight, which they didn't do last round.
Yeah, and they got to deal with DeTox, and they have to deal with Demise, as top tables is going to be his domain. DeTox not able to connect with that stun. Xploidz is going to block off his flank with the flames. DeTox is trapped, but they'll have no issues whatsoever cleaning up that kill. They know where the next 2 players are coming from as well. So in this moment, they're all good. But on the other end of the map, big 1v1 is being won by Fearzly. He'll be able to overextend for his squad.
All right, overextension in play. Statue fight still there. Dyslexic keeping that pressure. Meanwhile, the Lancer Fire is also off to DeTox's right. He's going to isolate now Toti. Good movement, takes him down. Now Dyslexic is not going to have that power position as he thought before. He's going to have to go down over on Statue. Great effort. Tries to take down Demise. I thought for sure Xploidz was going to hit those final shots. He doesn't. And now the quick pick could be there. By any means, at least minimum. I think the cap's coming in, but Demise forced to go down low. Attack onto Fearzly. Fire and Ice recovering, and they're even going in for their own home hill, which was taken just a little bit earlier by Elevate.
Yeah, I think DeTox and Demise did the best that they could over there at Statue. Fire and Ice, they just made it their main focus, and they do have control over it, but in the process, Elevate shifted their focus towards the home hill. Toti and Shock was putting in some work, and now Elevate has a little setup. They also got a few players defending E, making sure that this lane's covered, that Fire and Ice cannot go through top tables, that they cannot go through mid-map, that they have to push. That's going to be Shock and Toti over there on that side of the map, and they don't have any secondary weapons, but you see Elevate's looking to end this round, Taylor.
And they might be able to do so. Player 5 trying to stay up. That's Xploidz now in that 1v1. He was able to take down a player just earlier. Shock, though. Oh, a bit of a missed roll, but it's going to be okay. Toti's going to get that pickup. So well done in general, getting that additional damage. Big win. And like you said, Elevate is going to take this round. 5-1 victory, 2-0 overall. Very well. Excuse me, that's Foundation. I don't know where I'm at, man. Foundation, it's over 5-1. Hey, look, man. I apologize. I'm just getting a little bit excited about my prediction. Hey, big win though. Fire and Ice picked this map, all right? And we see 5-1 victory coming out for Elevate, but a lot of positives to take away from that, Blaze. Again, that teamwork, man. That teamwork was phenomenal. The trades they were getting, their ability to back up and know that, look, we can back up and take the next team fight was great. Very well done across the board.
Yeah, very well done across the board indeed. DeTox, he played great as a front spawn in that map. Demise did an awesome job at locking down Dyslexic, not allowing him to pop off and give that momentum towards Fire and Ice. Toti, Shock, they made great rotations for their team, made sure that they always had a 2-to-1 hill advantage. And ultimately, in the end, man, Elevate, they had a winning combination there to lock in map number 1. Now we're about to head over to map number 2 soon on District. But, you know, Taylor, Fire and Ice, it looks like they're having a bad day.
Yeah, it really does. And it's not for everybody. Again, Dyslexic has been playing very well. And, you know, he has that opportunity, or he takes the opportunity, honestly, more often than not, to open up a win condition for Fire and Ice. And again, I go back to what I said, I think after round 1 or round 2, where, of course, Elevate, you know, ended up winning several rounds in a row. But the point was that Dyslexic off the start, opening up that win condition, Fire and Ice just needs to fully commit on that, right? They need to fully commit on if they're going in for a domination, send everybody over there, okay? Don't split up. Don't have a plan B at that point in time, right? If you're going to go in, try and fully commit, go with that plan A. And I don't think they did that effectively. And again, too, we talk about, you know, those members just kind of isolating themselves in poor positions, right, where they shouldn't be at. One of them was Toti, we were talking about, right, who was over in Pistons, and you pointed him out, and he was out of position and looking at a 1v2, and Elevate made the wise decision to not push him. Why should they, right? Why do they need to risk a 2v1 at that point in time, and then all of a sudden now it drops down to a 1v1 because Toti takes one of the members down? It just, mathematically, it doesn't make sense. Use your Lancer Fire, force Toti to push up, and that's exactly what they did. I think overall, Elevate just played those team fights a lot smarter. Their positioning was greater. Their teamwork was on point. Fire and Ice, they were drastically missing that during that Foundation map.
Yeah, no, they definitely was, man. Elevate, they had a lot of discipline in their composure, and you know, in the end, they made sure that they got it done, Taylor. So good job to them for doing that one. You know, they even turned the lights out of my house. Okay, you know,
where'd you go, man? Hey,
yeah, but
come back, bro. You're not done yet.
They had my camera overheating, Taylor. It was like, yo, it's too hot in here, man. Hey. Elevate, between you and Elevate, you know, we just gotta shut you down here for a second, Blaze. Jesus.
Well, I hope we get you back, brother, man. Like, I can't do this alone, man. You know,
get me back. I gotta turn the air conditioner on. You're gonna get me back. Don't worry about it.
We got you back just in time. We're about to go full screen with me, and I know chat didn't want to see all that, okay? They don't need all that. They need a little bit of Blaze in their life too, brother. They're not ready for the full screen just yet. I don't know, man. It's going to be tough. It really is. You lose your map pick. Not only do you lose your map pick, you lose it 5-1. Okay, you lose it 5-1. And again, like you said, Fire and Ice, they're struggling today. They already lost 2-0 to Hive. I know they don't want to lose 2-0 to Elevate as well and go 0-4 for day number 3 of Pro League.
No, they don't. But you know, hey, today is a tough schedule here for Fire and Ice.
Sure.
And they would have had to have known that. They're playing 2-2-0 teams. I know that Fire and Ice put the practice in this week to come out on top, give both of those squads losses, and try to be one of the only remaining teams at the top to be undefeated. But, you know, it's just not looking good for them right now, Taylor. They're going to have to turn around on District. And I think District is going to be Elevate's best map. But if Fire and Ice will win this series, they're going to have to deliver a big blow. Yeah. They can elevate out on their best map, right? It's going to take some morale out of there. That's going to take some win out of their sails, put some morale back in Fire and Ice's favor. And then from that point on, you're going to have to go to Exhibit, and every fight, man, you're going to have to, it's going to be, as the Gears kids love to say, staticky. All right. It's going to be a staticky fight, man. You know, you're going to have to go in there, have that confidence, hit those shots. We know how crazy Exhibit can be. And you know what? That's what Fire and Ice is going to need. That's going to be their win condition if they got to take the series here.
Yeah, I mean, because you mentioned that, you know, when we were just before predictions, we were talking about those pick and bans, specifically in terms of Exhibit. Fire and Ice can get to that point, right? They should be in good hands. Again, Dyslexic on Exhibit, him winning those big fights, that opens up a door for F&I just to take absolute control of the map presence. And an Exhibit, with it being so small, winning those key fights is absolutely critical, but they've got to get to that point first. And now they're going to a slower map. They're going into District, much more rotational heavy, setup heavy as well. Of course, we have been seeing that mid battle quite a bit. Fire and Ice is going to be very comfortable in that mid battle. I think that's where Dyslexic is really going to heat up. But again, I constantly harp on Dyslexic because he is the pacemaker, the game changer for this roster. But even with him popping off, the rest of the roster was sluggish. And I'm very scared that they're going to fall behind. Dyslexic could open up the door mid, but if they're losing the fight for the overextension over on Cinema or Bandstand, you're out of luck. You're not going to win.
Dyslexic is definitely an X factor, and a big reason why is because of how he can slay out on a map. You know, we saw the double kills in which he was pulling off there on Foundation. He does that with ease, and in 4v4, those are big plays for your squad. But you know, I'm looking at vets, right? Like I'm looking at that Fearzly. I'm looking at Toti. Those two players to really have a highlight map here in map number 2, because Dyslexic, yeah, he's been around for a while, but when it comes down to kind of experience, you know, previous squads, those are your vets on this squad, and I want the vets to really make a statement here and you know, put Dyslexic in a position here for him to not have so much pressure on his shoulders, so that he can really shine here in this series.
I think he wants, to, not necessarily replicate, but even better the success that he had in the last split, right? Split one, where he really popped off and became, not necessarily a household name, but at least a name that we all know and love and expect explosive action from him, right? So he's wanting a little bit more action this season, I think, from that. But, for Fire and Ice, let's say, they do lose this 2-0 to Elevate, and they also lost 2-0 to Hive. My biggest thing now, Blaze, is like, is this going to be the drop off for Fire and Ice? Because we've seen this before. You go back, before Split 1 in the final season before, finals, right? Fire and Ice was looking great at one point, and they really fell off. They fell off hard. I think that's when Krabby's was on that roster, okay? But that's my biggest worry. Is this the point where Fire and Ice starts to lose confidence and, more importantly, just lose their ability to be able to keep up and compete? That's my biggest worry, because they're playing against the top dogs. You mentioned how hard these these matches have been. The teams they're going against are hard, but it's not like it's going to get any easier. Even come major time, it's going to be even harder. Is Fire and Ice going to be able to keep up to the caliber these teams are bringing?
Well, that's really the big battle Fire and Ice has been fighting internally. It's been consistency with the squad. Like we saw, they were hot last week. They're cold this week. Okay,
exactly.
We saw them in the Pro League last quarter. I believe at the time they were the only squad to give PK a loss. They won a big matchup in that one, right? They were hot that week. It was like, oh man, Fire and Ice is crazy.
That's right.
They were cold a few weeks after. Okay, so Fire and Ice, man, if they want to be at the top, they just have to be consistently hot, man. They have to come out here and make plays that give them higher percentages to win fights. Slow down sometime, because speaking of players specifically, Fearzly has been one guy that I even saw in 5v5 who kind of holds down that A button a little bit. He's always rotating the map. He'll start some fights that may not need to be started in that given moment there. Now, he can make big plays for his team, right? But it also puts them in some difficult spots, which lowers their consistency to closing out some dominations, consistently holding 2-to-1 hill setups and making those big plays. And that just takes time. You got to have a good leader on this team, letting you know when to slow it down, when to be aggressive here, because this is a squad that have all the pieces to make the perfect puzzle, and that perfect puzzle being a championship caliber team. And I know Fire and Ice as fans and organization would love to hoist the Gears of War trophy. And they got a good squad to do it. Yeah. Somebody has to be the vocal leader over there for them to have more consistency in their gameplay.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Genuinely, very well said. And you know what? That's the thing about it. Fire and Ice, when they're hot, they're hot. No one can touch them. But when they're cold, that inconsistency, it's going to bite them in the butt. And through a tournament, right, throughout a full weekend of the major, things could get rough, right? Because you could pop off on Friday, come Saturday, you could already be out of the tournament, right? So they need to go ahead and try and fix that. Let's get into it, guys. Look, this is the fact where FNI needs to win this map. If they lose it, they are going to lose 2-0, much like they did to Hive earlier. But Dyslexic, starting off strong. Demise is going to fall. He goes straight in for this engagement onto Toti. No respect whatsoever. And even will get the finish onto Shock. Dyslexic is angry, and Fire and Ice are taking round one.
Man, it was a battle of bronze down low. Xploidz and Fearzly shut down Elevate. Okay, they said Demise, DeTox, we don't know what y'all doing, but get the hell out of here. And then up top in the middle, it was like a battle of brothers. Toti versus Toti, Shock versus Dyslexic. In that round, it was Toti and Dyslexic who shut down the boys of Elevate. And just a well-played overall round here for Fire and Ice. And that's a great start here to map 2.
All right, so FNI takes round one. Phenomenal job. No competition at all from anybody on the roster from Elevate. But let's see if they can keep that up. Already a much better start than we had on the previous map of Foundation. So not bad at all. Keep our eye out on Dyslexic once again. That big playmaker in that mid battle in round one. He's going to be facing off against Demise on the other side. Oh, Demise tries to go for that poke, but unfortunately misses that shot. Dyslexic is going to take him down. DeTox going to answer back. Fearzly will get the trade. Shock now isolated 1v2, trying to hold down the home hill of Elevate. He's going to go in and back off. Fearzly as well as Xploidz, though, they're not going to let it go that easily. Shock's going to have to battle against them, but it stays neutral. Well done from Shock. My only complaint is Fire and Ice with all that aggression. They didn't commit on the overextension, so they didn't get home hill to home hill, and they also didn't fully commit on the Bravo. They're finally getting it now, but you see player 4 getting dropped. The Lancer Fire is there, and Elevate might quickly recover Bravo as soon as F&I gets it.
Man, throughout the entirety of that match, Toti, man, he held strong. He was an anchor in juice, and he made sure to give his team call-outs, get that initial damage on the players of Fire and Ice, Cap, and B. And Toti really was the one that kind of nullified that push in the end. Also the member of Elevate to stop the home hill push. Now, on the map, it's currently a 2v2, Taylor, all right? Player 5 is outside of this window. That's going to be DeTox. It's him versus Xploidz here. And off DeTox's left hands, he gets some good damage out and managed to slow down the fight, hit that last shot. He'll be able to put himself in a position to defend his B hill, but he still has a big fight against Dyslexic that he's going to lose.
And this is going to be very telling for Fire and Ice. Again, I'm not worried about their initials, and I wasn't worried about their initials on Foundation, right? I'm worried about their mid and late game where they have to make big play calls, where they have to rotate, allocate numbers, okay? That's where Elevate starts to exceed and get better than that of F&I. We're going to be able to see now this bit of a mid-round play, and it's going to be very telling if Fire and Ice comes out ahead and is able to hold off Elevate from coming back, whether it be mid-game or even up to late game. For Shock, though, big position, trying to hold off F&I. Down low, though, DeTox is going to drop. Dyslexic is also going to fall as well, but it looks like some team pickups are there. And here's that mid game. Here's that push again, Blaze, that I was worried about. Elevate, they're going in for the domination. Fire and Ice are starting to crumble.
Yeah, Fire and Ice are starting to crumble here. Their backs against the wall. Xploidz goes down. Fearzly goes down as well. Elevate sees the remaining 3 members on the map, but it does not matter. Trip cap domination coming through, you guys. They're going to get this one all tied up 1-1, and that was a great response from them.
Phenomenal response. I'm trying to go back to Monday for the Gears Challenger Series Split 2 Phase 1 Week 2. I'm trying to think of what team was phenomenal off the initials. It was either Papa Chalky Milk or it was Mars, or excuse me, Carnage Gaming. It could have even actually could have been even Double R. But one of those teams was so great at the initials. I mean, the other teams could not touch them, but mid to late game they would just fall apart. And that's again what you said before. Who is guiding the troops, Blaze? Who is the IGL for this roster making those play calls? It's so important for that to happen, and we're not seeing that from F&I. But hey, it's a fresh round again. Off the start, Dyslexic going mid, but Elevate's not taking the bait this time. They're not going to push it on Dyslexic and allow them to take them down. But honestly, it might not even work out either. Look at this aggression over on Bandstand.
Yeah, Fearzly and Xploidz, they're working really well together against Demise and DeTox down low to go home hill to home hill. And that's something that Elevate is going to have to try to change over these next few rounds, because we can assume that Fire and Ice is going to be putting most of their focus down low in this portion of the map because it's been working out for them. It's going to work out for them again.
Tried to get through that meat shield, man. He just wasn't going anywhere. Dyslexic said, look, sit down, man. This is our round. You're not sneaking through. 2-1 for Fire and Ice. Well done. Great push, like you said, from Fearzly and Xploidz down low. They didn't take the bait for Dyslexic in mid, but he uses that to his advantage. He says, okay, no one's going to challenge me. That's fine. Let me help out Fearzly and Xploidz down low on Bandstand with the Lancer Fire. And I think he actually got it down with his Lancer Fire as well. So great teamwork, good communication in general, I think, on that push. But again, another initial goes their way. DeTox want to spice things up. Looks like we're already going to get something in cinema very early on, and it's going to be that torque bow. You think that's a bit too early?
You know, I don't think it's too early indeed here. And that's a great placement there by Elevate, putting it up top. Reason being here is because you see how dominant Xploidz and Fearzly are down low.
Right.
Quickly switch it up now in the early game. Force them to have to respect this fight up top. And we'll see what Elevate has up under their sleeve here. This has been a scrappy brawl to kick this one off.
Static.
Fire and Ice coming out on top. And this is those staticky engagements in which we were talking about, Taylor.
Xploidz picking up that torque bow. Things are still underway. Toti's got Toti on the other side. He's kind of dealing with a lot of factors here, but he's going to try and pick it up. He can't. Toti's going to take him down. Well done once again from Fire and Ice. But as you mentioned, and I'm glad you pointed this out, right, putting that torque bow where they did, Now Fire and Ice can't have that strong domination at the beginning, right? It's going to spread out that fight. And Elevate knows if we can just extend this round mid-game, late-game, we're going to be much better off to beat Fire and Ice and beat this roster. And that's exactly the strategy they're going for, so well call out. But it looks as if they might not even have a say anymore. Fire and Ice, they're going in for the domination. Player 7, he's got to get a touch, and so does player 8.
Also, if you're getting your ass kicked by your opponent, it takes a lot to put your pride aside and say, hey guys, you know what? We can't fight this fight. We're losing it. Let's put a weapon elsewhere on the map. But as we see here, it did not make a difference for Fire and Ice, folks, okay? They still won an engagement. And from that moment on, they had the perfect recipe for a trip cap domination. At this point, Elevate needs to start building up their secondary, seeing what they can get to help them fight for this torque bowl, because next round, Fire and Ice will be able to build a shock grenade and bring that to the fight at Cinnamon. We know how strong that can be. Elevate, this is an important round for them to win here, Taylor.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, this is a swing round. Keep it close, right? Put yourself one round away from tying it up, as opposed to putting yourself one round away from losing the map and heading into game number 3, or map 3 rather. But it looks like they might not have a choice once again. Fire and Ice has been absolutely lights out on the initial. It doesn't matter if the torque bow's over in Band or Cinema. It doesn't matter if they're fighting that mid battle. Fire and Ice is doing everything right, and they are looking great overall. Colin likes to say this, man. He likes to say, live by the sword, die by the sword, okay? Fire and Ice is doing exactly that. These past couple of rounds have been insanely fast. They've been all dominations, and the reason why is because Fire and Ice knows, hey, we don't want to fight a mid game. We don't want to fight a late game. And because of that, they're fully committing to the big battles in the beginning. They're fully committing to the initials. And you know what? I find no fault in that. I really don't. Fire and Ice is doing exactly what they need to do to win. They found the weakness in Elevate, and they're exploiting it.
Yeah, no, they're exploiting this one indeed. And this is those big engagements, those team fights that they had, and something that we didn't see a lot on Foundation, right? Foundation was a map that was slowed down, a lot of 1v1 fights, 2v2 battles, but here you get these 3-man engagements on Cinema, down low at Bandstand, and Fire and Ice feels like they're in their element. So we'll see if they can take this initial as well. Xploidz is going to make it here towards the torque bow first, but he's focusing on the fight in front of him. Going to quickly pick it up, rev it.
Yeah.
He's going to connect with one, and that gets him a double. Currently, 3 members down on the side of Elevate. Toti is all by himself, and he's going to put some initial damage out, try to slow down these members. Can he take one to the grave?
Nope.
He cannot.
Even so, I think Elevate gets a touch here. Player, oh no, what?
Yeah, you can't stop there.
Why did they all stop their plays? You had 3 members pushing in. One gets chunked. One's still going to slip through, man. He's not going to be able to tackle you all down. I don't know what just happened. Well, I do, at least for the big scheme of Fire and Ice. Well done to you. Like I said, live by the sword, die by the sword. Colin puts it best. And, well, that's exactly what they did. Those initials, unmatched. Elevate, couldn't even touch them. We're heading into map number 3. Things just got interesting, guys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Gears Pro League Split 2 Phase 1 Day 3. Map 3 about to be underway. We're going to be heading into exhibits. Man, Fire and Ice fought back, and they finally found something that stuck, and that was the initials, Blaze. Their initials, untouched.
Untouched indeed, man. We saw the 2v2 battle being won by Fearzly and Xploidz at Bandstand against DeTox and Demise. They won it convincingly the first 3 rounds there of the matchup, and that forced the boys of Fire and Ice, the boys of Elevate, to put a power weapon up top, right?
Yep.
Try to change it up, get a 3 to 4 man engagement, get the whole team involved. But Fire and Ice, man, they were just too hot. They still slayed out in that 3v3 fight for torque bow. They've got the torque bow in Fearzly's hands, of all people. And you know, when that happens, it just increases Fire and Ice's chances of success. Now we're moving on over towards exhibit. Now, I said earlier that I thought Exhibit was a great map for Fire and Ice. And, you know, if they got to this point, you know, they were looking good.
Sure.
But they had to get here. And I felt like Elevate was really strong in the first 2 maps, but they blew their map pick. Now they're going to have to fight Fire and Ice on a map that they are way too familiar with here. And I think Fearzly is going to have a highlight game here. Dyslexic is going to follow suit. Toti is going to do what his team needs for him to do. And Xploidz, man, he's just going to be Big Pig, okay? No matter what it is, you need him to get done. He's going to get it done there. And Elevate, if they want to be undefeated in the Pro League, He got a tall task ahead of him currently.
Yeah, MVP Pig, he's going to go big, and he always does. You pointed it out best. Look, we get to exhibit Fire and Ice. They're going to feel at home. Like you mentioned, they're so incredibly strong on that map. Their slaying power is looking unmatched at this point, at least from that last map. Foundation was a much different story. But again, it's a bigger map that allows for more elongated rounds, okay? Exhibit, though, you know, for the most part, dominations, they're not rare per se, but they don't happen as often as you would think with the map being as small as it is. So it could benefit, maybe elevate if we see F&I get a strong initial. They might be able to fight back, but that slaying power is something that's going to hurt them in the end. You can't place a torque bow or something else, you know, throw a wild card to kind of break up that fight. Maybe something up top. We've been seeing a drop shot placed up top, but for the most part, it's not going to really change things up. And the hills, they don't change either. So it's going to be a tricky situation for Elevate to be in, but that short-term memory needs to come in, much like it did for Fire and Ice after map 1. They just got to let it go. Map 2's over with. It comes down to map 3.
Yeah, so the power weapons that's going to play a factor into this map is going to be the secondaries, DeTox, hammer bursts, incendiary grenades, retro lancers, and whichever squad can use those to the best of their ability, locking down these lanes, rotating the map, being aggressive, taking as much map control as their opponent wants to give them, will come out victorious. We won't see no big power weapons, maybe not until the later rounds if that happens, but Dyslexic in his 1v1 against DeTox, he goes huge, and now he's going to make quick work of Shock. He's on his opponent's home hill at this point.
You know, the thing about Dyslexic is, at least from what I'm seeing in this matchup, he has no fear, literally zero fear. That makes him a dangerous player. You can see his movement. At this point, it's just all muscle memory. He's not thinking about the fights. He's not really thinking about the positioning. He's just moving in, and he's just taking these fights one after the other, and he is succeeding. Very well done. And again, he is the one who's going to give the win condition to Fire and Ice. Of course, Xploidz, Fearzly, Toti, much respect, but Dyslexic is the one who's going to be popping off as he typically does. But Elevate, again, they're still in it. No domination comes in. Now what can they do as we head into the mid-round?
You know, and that's just Dyslexic having beautiful instincts. So fantastic instincts at that. And he knows what needs to be done. And his teammates understand how fast he's going to be playing. So they just got to keep up at his pace, trusting him, have that extra damage out there, and you know, make sure they capitalize off the plays and the openings in which he creates for being such a great slayer. Now, mid-map, DeTox is going to win a big fight against Toti. He's going to try to help out Shock for now, but prioritize capping his hill as he should here in this situation, because the round's going to slow down here for a bit. Fire and Ice with the lead, but they do not have the win condition at this moment. Fearzly getting aggressive in his 1v1 up top.
Hey, he's going to try and push in. I guess push back at this point, just barely avoiding that laser, by the way. That would have been tragic if he gets hit by that. Shock's got a big hold here, though. He's going to be pressured by 2 players. Tidy's going to be on the other side, so he does have some help, but you have to stop this push from F&I. This is going to put Elevate back in the lead. Toti's going to go ahead and deviate to mid. He's going to be found out very quickly, eventually taken down. Dyslexic, though, doing what he does best. He pushes it on DeTox, takes him down. Shock's going to push it from the flank. Dyslexic takes down Shock. Tidy, thank goodness you picked up that elimination. He's going to get traded out, but that's 4 down for Elevate.
Oh, man, great effort there by Tidy. Got to let that meat shield take a little bit of that damage there, but still managed to get some kills there. Now, coming off respawn, it's pretty much even Stevens as both these squads get in position. Now, we do see Elevate is pressed up a little bit further here. Sorry, not Elevate, but Fire and Ice is pressed up a little bit further here than Elevate. And this could be exactly what they need here in the late game, because you see Elevate working hard to get through each layer of Fire and Ice's defense. And with DeTox going down up top, that's going to open the pathway for Fearzly to push across the map, get towards his opponent's home hill. And the perfect play will not come out here.
No, he comes back to help out, and he picks up a couple of eliminations there. So good job from Fearzly, who I thought was going to go for the OE, but he knew that fight was, well, plus his positioning, right? He was going to be coming down those baby steps on the flank, on the backside of the boys from Elevate. Man, that's a tough round. Fire and Ice, they look solid through and through. Again, Dyslexic 4-1. I say that Fearzly, you always talk about, right? He's 5-0, right? So he's popping off himself. Well, not 5-0, but he's got 5 kills to his name. So well done for Dyslexic and Fearzly. I gotta say, Blaze, your analysis is on point, brother. You said Fearzly's going to pop off, Dyslexic's going to follow suit. That's exactly what happened in round 1.
You know, that's what Fire and Ice needed here on Exhibit. These are two big name slayers here for the squad. Xploidz and Toti are doing a great job making sure that they can help support them, put the damage out, keep the lanes covered. As you know, they let those guys just play some Gears of War, man. Have some fun, do what they love doing, and get into these engagements, winning big fights for their team. Now let's see how Elevate is gonna be able to respond there to this round number 1, as kicking off round number 2 is kind of slowed down. But Fearzly, beautiful stun, did not connect with the back A, but if he would have hit that, he would have slid to the left, cancel, got that chunk. But now he has to be disciplined off his left hand here.
Be a tough one, but gets it onto Demise. Man, Fearzly is playing. He hit you right in the chest, didn't it? I gotta say, man, Fearzly, Dyslexic, they're playing fearlessly. DeTox will fall. Toti will pick up Xploidz. But again, you know, Fire and Ice, great start, phenomenal initial, and they are winning fight after fight after fight. I swear, for every 2 or 3 fights that they win, Elevate wins 1. Shock, though, will manage to get onto Bravo, and that's from some heroics just a little bit earlier, picking up a couple players himself of Toti as well as Dyslexic. But still, Elevate fighting tooth and nail. This is a round they want to take. They do not want to be down 2-0.
Nah, they do not against this Fire and Ice team, because they're just gonna continue to build momentum, continue to build confidence here in this moment. Flashes are out. Fire and Ice trying to focus Demise here. They'll be able to push them back, move up a bit, but Shock hopped over into enemy territory. He has no teammate. Fearzly with a beautiful reaction.
No way.
He'll be able to pick up 2 kills with his teammate Toti, and that was a beautiful counter in response to what Elevate tried to throw at Fire and Ice, as they were trying to be aggressive and get that B hill.
I said it's over, not because they're not going to get the domination, but you know, you're looking at these fights for Fire and Ice. I mean, just everywhere you look, they are winning. They're playing confidently. They have no fear whatsoever. Elevate's not shook. Honestly, they don't even have time to be shook at this point. F&I is just playing so well. Like, I am so impressed. From Foundation, where they lost 5-1, where they were going, I mean, they looked like something was wrong, right? They looked like when they played against Rise and lost that Harbor matchup 5-1, like they look like they're in trouble. But they're turning it around much like they did in that series versus Rise. I can't speak highly enough with how well they're playing. They're pushing these fights with zero regard to their life and zero regard to what Elevate can throw at them. They just don't care.
No, they're in a great flow, man. As a unit, they are in a great flow when it comes down to how they're pacing this map. You know, the tug of war battles, especially, you get a lot of those tug of war battles in these lower lanes. You know, you can get aggressive, put out some initial damage, but sometimes you got to back roll and set up, not commit too much, because that's exactly what your opponent's waiting for. Toti's having a phenomenal start here. He's positive. He has 7 kills on the board. DeTox, Demise, Shock, those are the players that need to step up here for Elevate.
Fearzly has no deaths. Fearzly is like 11-2 with 0 deaths to his name.
Good call out.
Jeez, man, he is playing so well. Unbelievable. It picks up Demise. That's what, 12-2 now with 0 deaths. You can't stop the man. The dominations, it's coming. Player 7 is all the way over there. Actually, he's not even going to go commit to it as of yet. They're going to try and just isolate player 2, know where he can go. What is going on? Elevate is just getting ran through.
Yeah, they have no response here. Ultimately, at the end of the day, Elevate just needs to win their fights, because Fire and Ice, they have no issues pushing Elevate, right?
None.
They're feeling confident. Dyslexic and Fearzly, they says, hey, this is our map. We're coming for you. Now, if you're Elevate, you know that. You can feel that pressure. Pull out the Lancers. That's how you shut that down. You pull out the Lancers, cap some heals, use this retro
You were
Lancer,
talking Xploidz though, weren't you?
Yeah, man, he gets it. You know, he has the counter to whatever Elevate's trying to throw his way. And this is looking like another quick round here for Fire and Ice.
Man, Shock, yeah, you're not getting through that. Unfortunate. I'm low-key upset. I'm not gonna lie. I really am. I thought Elevate, this is gonna be the second time I've been burned by this roster, man. You know, the first time was versus Rebel. They ended up beating Rebel. Now I go with Elevate again. Chat doesn't. They're smarter than us, as you said, Blaze. You had to point that out.
Yep.
And now look, F&I is just, and you know, I genuinely almost went with F&I in this matchup. It is what it is. Hey, look, we take some losses. I hold nothing against them. Fire and Ice just playing well. When
I saw the map cycle, I was like, Elevate had to win in 2.
Yeah,
it looked good.
That's
Exhibit
fair.
being that last map, Fire and Ice just had to make it to that point. But Fire and Ice just had a better district than Elevate today, which is saying a lot, because that's one of Elevate's strongest maps. Okay, Fire and Ice, you know, they're in a great position to take this series. Let's see if they close out these last 2 rounds. As you see, shot grenades are on the map. Fearzly is going to be a nuisance up top using his smoke grenade. That's a bad smoke, though. We'll see how that plays into a factor, but Shock, he'll have no issue crossing Dyslexic down top, and we're starting to see that smoke grenade is there for Dyslexic, for him to be able to isolate his fight and get into a 1v1 and push up.
Something I do want to point out, by the way, Fearzly being 14-3 with 0 deaths. What's impressive about that is he's consistently going up top. So he's pretty much by himself, right? He's by himself the entire time. He's going against Demise consistently up on top, and he is winning that fight non-stop. Okay, non-stop. So at this point in time, Demise is giving up a free lane up top, and Fearzly is taking advantage of that. And you can already see now, hey, he's going to be isolated out. Demise is up top, but you already have FNI pushing in strong. DeTox, though, going in for a 2-piece. Great shot into Dyslexic. You just need to get one more. Teammates are going to be behind. Dyslexic gets away. Finally falls, but I can't believe he got away in that situation. But up top, though, still, Fearzly is still up there. He's chilling out, and he's keeping that pressure on Demise. You're taking one player out of Elevate and not allowing him to play with his roster at all. And Fire and Ice, as long as they lock down this lane, they're still okay because the rest of the team is doing such a great job overextending.
If Elevate is going to come back in this series, folks, it starts now in this setup. 2-1. They got B Hill, they got C Hill. All 4 players are alive. This is where they have to win the series. DeTox gets first blood, but they get 1 kill. Fire and Ice gets 2. And Shock, man, he has to make some big plays here. His team does not have the lead, but he is showing his patience. He has enough time to wait for his teammates to come off respawn. He doesn't have to do too much here. But this is going to be one of the final team fights in this series, I say. They got 1 or 2 left, 1 or 2 good ones. If not, man, it becomes an even more tall task for him.
And there's that 1v1. This thing has been a stalemate for the entirety of the round, but we've seen Fearzly literally in the same situation pick up Demise, and finally he wins that fight. Well done. He's going to push through, and maybe this is the turning point. Still a lot of work to be done, and those 2 players who went up top now are going to be met by player number 8. That's going to be Toti, and like you said, this is a must-win for Elevate, and it looks as if they're going to be able to take this. Fire and Ice, they're a bit too far behind. They do have that lead. Possibilities there, but I don't see it happening.
Good job to Elevate, working together, getting back towards each other.
Stop it.
But I thought they were going to stay alive,
okay.
But they all fall one by one. They recognize at the end that they needed to cap the hill, and multiple players are getting timed out. I don't blame Demise for not taking his life in that moment right there, because he needs to be as close to that hill as he possibly can. And it was a swing moment, but you saw it, man. It came down to like 1 second in the end. That Elevate needed for them to have to back up and let Fire and Ice come to them.
Wow. Yeah, I thought Elevate had that round for sure. I mean, but like you said, it came down to that 1 second. It came down to that 1 second.
Yeah.
Unreal. 4-0 Fire and Ice. They keep things interesting, chat. They keep things in. Again, they did the same thing versus Rise. It looked like it was all over map 1. We're like, man, Fire and Ice is rough. They're looking bad. They're looking like ice, no fire. And then they do this. Talk about making me feel dumb, man.
I think it was a half a second, man. It was actually less than a second in which Elevate lost that round by. But it just shows that you have to be consistent early on in the game, because you can't be trying to win it in those later moments. Trying to pull, a United special. Is that, are we changing the name to it? Is it even a special anymore?
I don't know.
Well, don't worry. We'll find out this season of the Pro League, folks. Okay.
Ashes is doing his watch party. I don't even want to test it and say I don't know if it's a special or not a special. I'll leave him up to figure that one out.
We'll find out this season of the Pro League.
We'll definitely find out. United's had their struggles for sure. Xploidz fighting over against onto Toti. Toti wins that. Now, Blaze, I'm going to ask you the coveted question. Is it comeback time?
I don't know if it is in this series, man. not with this Elevate roster. They got great teamwork here off the start. But I will say that if they are able to win these 5 rounds in a row, they just elevated to new heights. Okay. The whole team just evolved. And we have to have a different conversation with them in the Pro League when it comes down to them being at the top. Because they have shown us that they can make these difficult comebacks in map number 3 with their backs against the wall. But it is no easy task.
All right, so Elevate, they do have D&E locked in place. Things are going to be quiet, a lot more quiet than we're used to hearing. Fire and Ice trying to set up for their next push. It looks like Demise is going to be challenged by Toti this time. It's been Fearzly pretty consistently, but 1v1, Toti's going to take it. He's not going to waste any time. He's immediately going to overextend and head down to D. He wants Elevate to back up, or at least kind of go into a frenzy, if you will. For Toti, oh, he can't get the finish. Great pickup. Fearzly is there, and that was a hellacious fight, but well done from Fearzly to get that pickup. 19-3, 2 deaths to his name, and like you said, that's it. Wow, that is all I can say, Blaze. Wow.
Whew. Fire and Ice, they said, we're not going out like that. We're not going out 0-2 in this week. No, sir. What a dominant performance there in that last map. Fearzly, man. You can't play around with him, folks, okay? Because that quickly, he'll turn up the heat on you. 19-3-2. What an amazing map for him.
Wow. That's just, I am seriously blown away by that. That Fearzly played out of his mind. Well done for F&I. And hey, check it out. Producer got it right. 8Ball got it. Yeah, there's an 8Ball. No joke. 8Ball got it right in that situation. But they also went with Team K, so they're wrong in that situation. Well done, chat. You bested us. You beat me and Blaze, man. Hey, we went with the wrong team. It is what it is. I'll take the L happily. Fire and Ice, they earned that victory.
Yeah, now I'll take that one as well because, you know, ultimately, you know, I feel like we gave Elevate the credit in which they deserved here coming into this series to take it in a 2-0 fashion and win it, right? They were comfortable going on to District, but maybe too comfortable in the end because District was the turning point in the series. Fire and Ice, they did have the advantage when it came down to choosing 2 maps in which were going to be played today. And they picked the right ones here, folks, okay? In the end, it worked out for them. Elevate, they got to just go back and watch this one over and figure out what the hell do they need to do internally to really close out these series and not feel too comfortable in it.
Man, I don't know who the MVP was. You know, Fearzly, obviously MVP for that last one, that last round on a map or on Exhibit, but District, Dyslexic was tearing it up. Well done. Give it to Fearzly. I think Fearzly all around played very consistent and just lights out. There you have it. Foundation 5-1, District 5-1, Exhibit 5-0. You get rid of Foundation, that's a 10-1 victory for Fire and Ice. I mean, wow, seriously, my jaw is on the floor. Very well done for Fire and Ice. I don't know what happened against Hive. I really don't. The only thing that I can think of, Blaze, is maybe that, look, they played each other time in and time out. It's a familiar match for them, and Hive probably just knew what their tricks were all about. Hive, though, has been a great team overall, even though Fire and Ice will lose that undefeated record. Not bad at all to at least go 1-1 for the day, and I think finish off 2-2, 3-1 actually, if I'm not mistaken, in the overall standings.
3-1, correct. They will be 3-1 in the overall standings. And when it comes down to the 2 teams in which Fire and Ice had to play today, I consider Hive a tier above Elevate as far as a roster goes. You know, you got Enzum, Noe, TJ, Solars on that squad. You know, from the series in which we watched them play, they looked absolutely great. So. That's right. Hive, they're staying consistent. They'll be 3-0 currently in a pro league undefeated. And congrats to them and congrats to Fire and Ice for bouncing the hell back in this series, man, because it was not looking good for them.